Okay, boys and girls, time to revisit Fence Rep, that elusive minx. If you're not familiar with who I am, when the Scav Karma system was first introduced, I was the first player in the world, well, that I'm aware of, that got to max Scav Karma. 2 days later, I discovered a bug with Raiders that cost me all of it, and I went from +6 to -12 inside of 2 minutes, making me the back-to-back 2-time World Scav Karma Champion. So it just so happens I know an awful lot about the Scav Karma system and how it works. So maybe consider subbing the channel so I can get that cool plaque thing one day and keep making some other rad content for you guys. Anyway, now that half the player base is down horrendous with Fence after massacring Santa a million times over, everyone seems keen to want to know how the hell to repair it all. Well, that's where guides like this come in. Now, there's going to be chapters on the side or on the bottom of the video, depending on what app you're using, as well as on the timeline, should you want to skip to a specific heading. But if you will humor me, you'll have a lot more understanding as to how everything works, and you'll be able to explain this to others if you hang around and get the background info too. Also, while the wiki is a great reference, I can tell you that there are certain parts of the wiki from time to time that do end up incorrect. There are aspects of the wiki currently that are wrong. Now, whether that's due to a bug or what, I don't know, but I can tell you that they are wrong. Many of the values that are shown on the table in the wiki are currently incorrect, but I'm sure that they will be updated in time, and by the time that you end up watching this, they could be right. Point is that BSG changes stuff all the time, and things get out of date. But here's what I can tell you for 12.12. Aside from the first couple of weeks following the implementation of Fence Rep, once upon a time, and one high rep event that happened once upon a time, it has never been faster to level Fence Rep than it is right now. Also, the guide here that I'm going to provide you is extremely comprehensive. At least, that's my goal. With percentages of gain and loss, all of the bonuses and all of the major losses, depending on where your standing is, and I'm going to make this as specific and accurate as I possibly can. Now, that being said, BSG changes stuff constantly, like I already mentioned. So while some aspects of this might be off as BSG changes the variables, the core message of this guide will still be the same solid information. And I will make updated versions of this if they do change. So to recap, Scav reputation is reflected as reputation with Fence. Fence Rep is Scav Rep. You know, that shady dealer you can find in the trading window that gives awful deals for just about everything. You know, the dude with the hood. Maximum reputation, maximum Scav Karma is 6.0, although it can go infinitely higher. And the lowest for maximum penalties is -6, although the rep can go infinitely lower, which further and further sinks you into the quicksand. So before we get into all of the math for how to get max as fast as possible, which is the ultimate point of this, first, we need to cover the bonuses and the ways in which you can gain or lose rep, so you can formulate your own plan of attack if you need to in order to get the job done. And there's also some other bits of info in here for quirks of the system that you might want to avoid at all costs if you can. Fun fact, or the way that it seems now, there doesn't ever seem to be a bug that gives you a bunch of rep. There's always bugs that make you lose it, but I digress. As your rep increases, your scav run cooldown gets reduced. Max reputation along with level 3 intel center, this cooldown becomes only a handful of minutes. You could essentially finish a scav run, and by the time you're done offloading your gear, the scav cooldown is back up, and you could go right back in if you wanted to and just main your scav the whole time. At max negative rep, the scav cooldown becomes 2 hours. At max positive rep, the scav case in your hideout has its time to completion halved, which means that something like an intel folder run, which is the longest of all of the different scav case runs, clocks in at just under 3 hours, rather than 5 hours and 20 minutes. At max penalty, this becomes over 24 hours, so it's considerably different. At max rep, car extracts have their overall costs reduced by 50%, but at max negative rep, car extracts are 400% more expensive. In my experience, I was spending somewhere around 25 to 30K on car extracts. When you do have a scav run, if you have max rep, all of the extracts, almost all of them, depending on the map, are all available. There are 5 that get listed. At max negative rep, you only get 1. On reserve, sometimes that means you only get the train. And sometimes when you spawn on reserve, you spawn as the train is leaving. See how that could be a problem. As a scav, you can also ask the AI scavs to follow you. At max rep, this is a 100% chance. At max negative rep, this chance is not only 0, but the bots are also all aggressive toward you, just like if you were a PMC. You become kill on sight. Equipment of a max rep scav has a significantly better chance to roll a very, very good kit. Kit quality is much higher on average. Things like a backpack, some body armor, a halfway decent gun, usually a lab key in your pocket, or 50,000 rubles or something close to that in equivalency. Now, in the future, I'm going to record 100 max rep scav loadouts just to illustrate what this looks like. At max negative rep, this likelihood of getting a good kit is significantly reduced. From my memory, there were many instances where I showed up like butt naked with just a PM pistol and everything was aggroed. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't get a good kit once in a while. Hell, you could end up rolling some good ones halfway decently kind of often. But think of it like a D&D roll. You roll that D20 and on your character sheet, you might have some bonus stat points that you can allocate towards certain things. Kind of works like that. So there's kind of like that 0 level roll. You roll your D20 and whatever the roll is, that equates to a certain level of quality. At max negative rep, you're subtracting points instead of adding them like you would be doing at max positive rep. You still have the chance to get a very good kit, it's just reduced. Prices of goods from Fence are discounted at a high rate at max rep, and you gain access to a special tab of goods where Fence gives you access to buy uninsured items that other PMCs had died with. At max negative rep, his prices become 20% more expensive rather than a 15% or 20% discount. At max positive rep, you also get the benefit of having bosses consider you to be friendly, meaning they do not aggro you, they will not shoot at you. This does not happen at any rep lower than +6 unless the game bugs. If you don't have a scav boss suddenly aggro you when you get too close, it's a bug that they still haven't worked out yet, but they are supposed to aggro you at any rep under 6. And lastly, at max scav rep, if you were to be attacked on a scav run, the AI scavs will come to your aid as if you were a scav boss. Although in my experience, this has been horribly buggy and does not seem to work, if ever. Now moving on to the values. As of the date of this recording, I can assure you that the values that I'm going to share with you are accurate. However, as I've already mentioned several times, they are subject to change per whatever the hell BSG wants to do, because Russians. First, we'll talk about losing rep. The reputation system in Tarkov is created with the role of a scav in mind. Scav is short for scavenger, after all, and the idea here is that the reputation of a scav weighs heavily on whether or not you assist in the killing of any of Fence's assets. Scavs are part of the faction that Fence oversees, including scav bosses. It's a criminal network that includes services such as transportation, and he's also in good with all of the scav bosses on each map, a budding criminal network that provides Fence with information. So as a good little scav, the idea here is to gather all of the items for your PMC's hideout or bankroll as you can, and simultaneously assist your friendly neighborhood AI scavs and scav bosses, and not kill other scavs or other scav players. There are really only 3 main ways that you can lose Fence reputation as a scav. 1, kill an AI or player scav. 2, kill boss guards. 3, kill a boss. If you kill an AI scav, you will lose 0.03 Fence reputation, computer run AI scav. If you kill a player scav, you will lose 0.1 Fence reputation, a little bit more than 3 times more than an AI scav. Killing a boss guard will cost you 0.6 Fence rep. Killing a boss will cost you anywhere between 0.2 and 0.5 Fence rep, depending on the boss. And finally, depending on the event, like Santa, you would lose anywhere between 0.5 and 1.5 rep for killing him. Now, with the exception of Santa, all of those other penalties are only if you are playing as a scav. If you are on your PMC, you do not, or you should not, lose rep for killing scavs or scav bosses or any of that other hooey. It's only when you are playing as a scav. Your PMC, everything's open season, with the exception of Santa, but Santa's gone now, so it's okay. Come out from under the blankie. Now, raiders are not scavs. Raiders are not scavs. Rogues are not scavs. Cultists are not scavs. Those 3 other factions do not count insofar as penalty rep is concerned. You should not get a penalty ever killing one of these guys. However, there's still some wonky coding that will make normal scavs aggressive toward you if you kill one of these 3 other factions near them. So just make sure you pay attention to what you're aiming at and seriously consider whether you actually want to shoot and kill that AI scav that aggroed you, because you will lose rep for killing them. If you have max Fence rep, again, max Fence rep, this one's important, killing a boss guard, a boss, or another player scav will have a very steep escalation in the penalty associated with killing them. Think like 10x penalty. So if a boss guard was 0.6, it's now 6.0. If A player was 0.1, it's now 1.5. Boss guards and boss kills, if you have max rep, will cost you just about all of your positive fence rep, essentially resetting it back to somewhere near 0. So my advice would be, if your plan is to get max rep, practice being a good little scav, and don't even bother firing your weapon at anyone or anything that has moved other than maybe a confirmed PMC target. Otherwise, at some point you are going to end up reset, or you'll end up like me back in 12.11, somewhere around -12 and staring down the barrel of needing to start over. Also, another note here. At the time of this video, it's still unclear whether BSG has actually fixed a bug that I discovered where I shot raiders and lost all of my rep. It is also unclear if rogues are categorically coded the same way that raiders are or were, which means it's also unclear if at max rep you will be penalized as a scav for killing the rogue once you are over 6 rep because of that bug. There was even a tweet after the fact saying that it had been fixed and other people lost all the rep way back in 12.11. It's supposed to be. Whether or not it is, I don't know. There are also recent reports of players losing rep even after they've been hit by a player scav once they reach max rep, meaning a player scav shot them, they shot back and killed the other player scav after they got hit, which is not supposed to give them a penalty, but they were penalized anyway. So again, my advice here would be that if your plan is to get and maintain max rep, given how buggy the system is, that you commit yourself to becoming a pacifist from that moment forward. Because after hitting max, firing back and possibly bugging out and losing the rep, or hell, firing at anything ever, won't be worth the headache of the rep loss. Now for some weird scenarios. Not so nice player scavs can be anywhere and fire at you at any time if they're trying to take your loot. But what happens if you retaliate? Well, that is situational. If someone shoots at you and misses, and you fire back and kill them, you're going to take a rep penalty because they didn't hit you first. If someone shoots at you and hits you, you fire back and kill them, you don't lose any rep, but you don't gain any either. If you're in a party and someone shoots your buddy in your party and you fire back and kill the bad guy, you will take a rep penalty because they didn't hit you, they hit the other person. The only time right now that you will not take a loss in rep is if you are fired upon, hit, and then retaliate and win, so that we're clear. However, if you fire back, hit the other player scav, and the bad guy that shot you first still wins, they don't take a rep penalty anymore because you shot back and you hit them. So if the intention is for them to take the rep hit, die with dignity, my brother. However, if you're in a party and one of your buds dies to a player scav and then you retaliate, you end up receiving a reputation gain since you killed a scav that killed another scav. That shows up as a bounty reward. Now I know what you're thinking. What if we went into a raid together and I had my bros shoot some AI scavs and then I shot them for the rep bonus? Well, that used to be a thing, but BSG caught on. And now you can't do that if you're in the same party. Obviously, this system needs some tweaks, but the intuitiveness of the system may not be the easiest thing in the world to code, given so many different scenarios. Reputation gains have a few more things at play than reputation losses. Losses are kind of straightforward, some of which of these are quickly farmable and others that are not. There are things that you can only do as a PMC, things that you can only do as a scav, and things that you can do as either one. So first, as a PMC. As a PMC and only as a PMC, you have the opportunity to take every car extract on each map that offers one. Those maps are customs next to the dorm, interchange at the power station, woods at the bridge in the expansion area village, and most recently, Lighthouse on the northeastern side of the Rogue water treatment plant. Pay for the car extract and you get some rep when you leave. Again, this is only doable as a PMC. Scavs can't take cars. The car extracts have diminishing returns on their rep, though, meaning the first time that you use it, you will get 0.25 rep. The second time is a 50% reduction, 0.13. Another 50% reduction for the third at 0.08, fourth 0.06, and then it diminishes by 0.01 each time, 0.05, 0.04, 0.03, etc. But this reputation reward is not shared between all of the cars. Each map and its car extract have its own reputation reward pool. So if you took 8 car extracts on each map, 8 car extracts would be 0.66 reputation times 4 maps would be 2.64 scav karma. You with me so far? Next, we have duo extracts or co-op extracts, which can be taken either as a PMC or a scav. Doesn't matter which one you are. The duo extract requires that you have one PMC at least and at least one scav in the extract at the same time. This works just like the car extracts do, although in my opinion they're considerably harder to pull off because you need to have somebody else. If you are looking to attempt to cheese this, you'd have to have a buddy. You guys select the same single server, preferably one that's lower population, like a server that's in off-peak hours, like a West Coast server at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or a Russian server at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, etc. And then you try to have your buddy enter a raid as a scav, or you do, once you guys load into your PMC run. People have reported somewhere around like minute 10 to 12 is a good time to attempt to zone in. Now, each duo extract rewards the same amount of rep that the car extracts do. They work exactly the same. They all have their own rep pool, they all reward rep at the same rate, etc. These duo extracts are located in woods, midway along the main paved road, interchange, located on the highway behind a large red Connex, reserve, located at the BTR, parked next to the Love Shack, and again on Lighthouse, located in a maintenance room off the tunnel extract near the southern end of the highway. The reward, again, begins at 0.25 and slowly diminishes over time by the same rate as the car. Now, because this is considerably harder to do, it's much more realistic to assume someone could pull off maybe 4 to 5 of these instead of 8, although you could go for 8, and in my opinion, Woods is the most difficult due to how spread out it is. The others don't seem to be nearly as hard. If you were to take each of these extracts 5 times, that would be 0.57 rep per map times 4 maps, gives you 2.28 scav karma. Now, for each of the car extracts and the co-op extracts, if you get them whittled down on a rep reward low enough to where the reward offered is rather minimal, like less than 0.02, there does seem to be some kind of karma regeneration mechanic, where 0.01 will regenerate per day or so, but that seems to stop somewhere around 0.05. So if you took it like once a week, you'd get like 0.05, 0.04, somewhere around there. So your mileage might vary, and again, this is one of those BSG could have changed this already kind of things. Take this one with a grain of salt. Now, from here, we only have the grind left, the stuff that you can only do as a scav. So as a player scav on a scav run, you can gain rep by extracting. That's the easiest one. You get 0.01 rep if you extract as a player scav. If you kill a PMC as a scav, you also get a rep award. However, this seems to be only if the PMC has killed another scav and or is currently bugged, as a lot of players are reporting that they are not getting rep for killing PMCs as scavs. The reward for this should be 0.03 per PMC that you kill. However, it does not seem like that is happening. Also, there is supposed to be an increasing bounty, which also does not seem to be happening. Looks like if a PMC kills a scav and then you kill the PMC, you get 0.03 and that's it. Killing a player scav that has already been flagged as a traitor, meaning a player scav that's already killed another scav, awards 0.03. This is also supposedly supposed to have a 0.01 bonus for every other scav that they kill, but it does not seem to be happening. And if the guy that was killing the scavs was killed by another player scav, and then you killed that scav, you do not get any rep. And lastly, if the game, somehow by the grace of Nikita, recognizes that you ended up helping a scav boss by shooting someone that shot at and hit the scav boss or was aggroed by the scav boss, if you kill that person, you're supposed to get 0.05 rep. But that has been so rare, I've never seen a screenshot of it. So with all that in mind, here's the fastest possible way to level your scav karma. If you take every car extract 8 times, that's 2.64 karma. If you take each co-op extract 5 times, that is 2.28 karma. If you have EOD, that is an additional 0.2 karma. You get it when you start off for a total of 5.12. From here, it is a combination of shooting traitorous scavs, helping bosses, shooting PMCs, etc. until you are able to cap out at 6.0 plus. Failing that, the most simplistic way to look at it, at its absolute worst, assuming that you didn't accidentally kill a boss or a guard and didn't set yourself back, you are looking at 88 extracts on your player scav to get to max karma. If you end up gaining additional rep as the result of some of the other mechanics, like you get an extra co-op extract for another 0.02 rep or something, just count that as it's that many less extracts that you have to do on your scav in order to be able to get out. If you ended up messing up your rep, just move the decimal point of whatever your current rep is 2 places to the right, and then math out the difference from 6.0 to wherever you are. That's how many scav extracts you need in order to be able to get back to 6.0. And that's everything. 88 extracts, realistically. So, try not to mess up your rep by accidentally shooting other people, and you guys got this. Thank you guys so much for coming and checking out the video. I truly, truly, truly do appreciate all of the time that you spend with me. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.